Hello, hello, hello. I think this is the first working Zoom of the year. So my goal, I know I said on the last call we had together, my goal is to start the planning process today because the challenge that I had mentioned the last time will begin in February. So let me make sure the chat's open here actually. Okay, so the challenge or whatever. We're going to start that in February, but I want to kind of get the mindset started. I know that January is a really weird month. I've been doing this for a long time, and January is typically when people are like getting their shit together the most. And I don't mean in terms of like resolutions. I mean, there's just this weird, like, throw you off kilter kind of energy coming into the new year. So being able to, get everything that's why New Year's resolutions are a big thing because it almost feels like, tell me if you relate, it's like a very out of control season. So the idea is like, I want to make all these plans. I want to be super motivated so I can get back in control. But that creates kind of like a false motivation that fades really quickly. So you guys know me by now. You know I'm in it for the longevity. So we're going to look at the planning for the new year and what we want to attract and all of that stuff. We're going to look at it from a very realistic lens. And today I just want to kind of plant the seed so you guys can start to think in the way that will benefit you throughout the challenge. Okay, so let me get my notes here. Okay, so if I were to ask you this question, tell me in the chat, what is your ultimate goal for 20, let's just say for the next year? We'll stick to the year. What is your ultimate goal where you feel like fast forward next January, looking back, you're like proud of what went down? Tell me in the chat. What is your ultimate goal for this year? Bueller? I'll start with mine. So, my ultimate goal this year is to continue to build my identity. That's my ultimate goal. I want to feel, especially now after having the baby, having, like I'm changing things in my business and how they're working and everything like that. I really want to continue to be authentic to myself in that way. So, what would be if you're sitting there listening now, what would be an ultimate goal of yours? Hard to think about a year-long goal. I usually move month to month. So then that would mean all of your goals have to happen this month, right? That ends up being pretty nerve-wracking. And I don't want you guys to think of it in terms of like what's going to take you 12 months to get. In terms of if you have one big main overarching goal that you could look back next year and go, okay, I spent my year working towards this. What would that one thing be, ideally? Let's see, to feel like things are in a better place than they were at the beginning of this year. If you can get specific on that, in what way? Better place is so broad that it's like, how do we substantiate that? How can we make that tangible? So I would encourage you guys to kind of, you know, it's a good starting point to think about it, but what qualities, aside from rebuild a house, get healthy, same thing. Amazing, but what would health look like for you specifically? Perfect. Yep. So looking for a smaller goal, like all, me, but the baby steps, they all make up the big goal, right? But what particular form of health would be ideal? Is it having a better understanding of your illnesses and how your body's working? Is it feeling more agile, more energy? You know, let's see. Sustainability and commitment to change. I love that. Being more active instead of passive. Okay. To build a home that allows me to have peace and do the things I love. Love that. A TikTok series. I love that. Definitely more energy. Yeah. So the reason that we start talking about these things is because, oh, wait, we got more. I love it. For me, I want to be stronger, more stamina to chase my kids. And work in the garden. I love that to feel good. I want a better fitting job for me. Yes, I want that for you too. Or at least on the way there. You know, I love to see that. Cooking at home more, moving more, Pilates, starting a creative project from beginning to end. Hmm, that's I'm there. I stop wishing for that pipe dream, but I know what you mean. And having a satisfying progression with things, I think, is like a really important thing. Even if we pick stuff up and put it down, it's like you don't want to be like straight up in the middle of abandoned things everywhere you look. At least that's how I interpret it. I also have a goal to read more this year. I love it. Sure, we can do accountability buddies. I love that. I can build that into the challenge in February for sure. We're definitely going to be doing more group coaching. I make if you guys have known me for a while, you know that I love to jump the gun and start talking about things before they are fully developed. So I don't have a tentative timeline for this. I'm hoping within the next month. Um, I'm going to be doing my program going forward is going to be, you guys are all grandfathered in, but going forward, I'm going to be focusing more exclusively on productivity, neurodivergence, things like that. So wait, what was I was thinking, oh, we're going to be doing that in a group coaching capacity more than how like CCA is very one-on-one. The neurodivergent coaching I want to do purposely in kind of a group coaching setting because I think we feed off each other and for that reason, accountability. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on everything that comes out with stuff as I develop it. Yes, socialize at least a little bit. um, Accountability person is what makes me start and continue new things. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And we can absolutely do that. So when it comes to thinking about your goals for the year, sometimes we could think about when we start to think about there's that functional freeze moment where it's like I don't want to say something too unrealistic, but I don't want to say something too simple. It's a whole year. It's got to be the perfect goal, We start really trying to at least that's the way my brain works. I don't know if you guys can relate, but it's like we kind of start to break it down and get overwhelmed. Or maybe we're afraid of what would happen if we did hit that goal. But for you guys, as you were saying your goals for the year, if you are if you recognize it or comfortable sharing, what kind of like negative initial feelings were you feeling even thinking about what goals you want to achieve this year? What negatives were you feeling thinking about these goals, even if it was just initially? Anxiety about the steps I'll have to take. Yeah, yeah, Katie. Like, especially when it comes to getting a new job that's more aligned, there's so many things in the middle where it's almost like you feel like you gotta like wish on a star or something because it's like, what the hell? I have to do so many things to get there. We're gonna go over that today. But absolutely, it's always been such an uphill battle. Yeah, yeah. So like the past comes into it, right? What if I don't complete it? Fear of abandoning my goal again, and yes, the steps to start. I miss the steps to start before I can begin. Like even when I feel I do everything right, nothing changes. hmm So many unknowns of how people will impact it. Yeah, how that my dreams are too big and not attainable. hmm So, what would it do? This is going to seem like such a silly answer, but a silly question. What would it do for you if you did complete that goal? What would your life be like? Like, what would be better for you in your day to day if you actually did hit those goals? Let's daydream a little bit because I know we're in the fear place, so it might be that's purposely why I want to daydream because it's going to be harder to feel like that's even realistic, but that's okay. All of these goals are realistic. We could do anything. I mean, you know, short of like something ridiculous, but anything is attainable. It will just be off my back, right? So you'll be able to just, I'm done. I don't have to think about it. Off my plate, off my pile. What else? What else would it do? The original question, Danny, is what would it do for you if you did complete that goal? Like, what would your life be like if you did complete your 2026 goal? I don't know why I want to keep saying 2016. How is that 10 years ago? That's a whole other combo. Um, okay. If I had more energy, I'd be a better mom, a more patient job. I'd accomplish more day to day in my garden, yay, and food preservation. Sorry, brain. And I would just feel better. It's just like a sense of like, kind of like what Chastity was saying with it would just be off your back, kind of like feeling like, okay, I achieved it. I'm in this good place. I'd be able to have a life outside of work because I'm not so burned out. So I think it's important. It's like the more amazing your life stands to be if you achieve it, the more scary the goal is. Who growing up was someone who would almost try to not let yourself get excited about things because if you didn't, you wouldn't be disappointed if you didn't get them. Whether it was taking a test, playing a game, I don't know, anything. If you were the type of person that's like, if I don't get my hopes up, I won't be disappointed. And then were you still disappointed? You know, that guys still do that. Yeah. My mom, yeah. I mean, the mom wound is a big one. It's a big one that absolutely affects goal planning because if the person who is biologically programmed to just believe you can do anything and like believe the sun sets, rises and sets on your head, if they don't think you can do anything or they think anything about you, then that sets a precedent that sticks, you know? Get it? And also not satisfied after doing the thing. Yeah, like the goalpost keeps moving, right? Like it's like, okay, I got there, but that was nothing. Now let's move on. That's too simple. I was noticing before, I think Chloe, it was you had mentioned you're like, I feel like even though I do all the things, it nothing ever happens and no change ever happens and stuff. A lot of times, I mean, I'm biased because I see you as my client and stuff, but a lot of times the changes are so small and they're so internal that because we're not getting the tangible thing that we're putting all this effort into, it almost feels like all the goals, all of the achievements along the way, that are very tiny, kind of don't seem like enough. I see this in a bunch of different things. I see it, obviously in our health, our bodies, and stuff like that. I see it in, I mentioned on my post yesterday, I was talking about like hoarding disorder is a very common thing among my clients. And I'm going to talk about it more because I feel like everyone, myself included, it's a shameful thing. But that same mechanism of feeling like you've worked all day and then you look around and it feels like nothing has changed. That same like hopelessness, you know, um, that mechanism finds its way into goal making all the time. You know, I got to look back 2 years at a time to see the progress. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too is like we're really hard on ourselves, and because we really want that goal, so the smaller achievements don't register because it's like close but no cigar. You know, um, the changes are hard to see in yourself. Oh, always, because we are always our own biggest critics. Obviously there are tangible things like numbers and stuff like that, but all of the little things, it's really easy to kind of gaslight ourselves into thinking that they don't add up or they aren't enough because we're still not where we need to be. It all stems from a place of really wanting something. So to get what you want, the biggest thing is you want to try to be the person and embody the things that you would need to receive those things. So, the first thing to do, I want you to think about your goal and I want you to write it at the top of your notebook. Okay. And you can do this on your phone if you're following along. So, right here, more authentic slash identity. Okay. So then once you guys have your goal written at the top, then I want you to write, I want you to list 3 things that you think you'd have to be better at, stronger at, whatever. 3 things you would have to be better at if you wanted to be someone who could receive that goal. So for me, right, I wrote more authentic and building my identity. So for me, that means um, I'm doing this live with you guys on purpose. I would say I would want to build a community of relationships. Like I don't even want just you ever meet someone that's like they got friends, but they just like know people wherever they go. Like they just, they're just that personality where they have lots of, they've built a bigger network. I would like to be that way in my area down here. I would like to begin to get involved in more social outreach groups and things like that, and just get to know people and build a network of people who are aligned with that. So, right here, build a network. I am, I would want to be better at building a network because, believe it or not, because I'm outgoing with you guys, I have a lot of social anxiety. So for me, that is something that I have to work on, not immediately just clamming right up with like the most masking of slight smiles on my face as I'm dissociating from the crowd around me. That's what I need to work on. I'm not going to write that. So, but okay. So another thing to be more authentic and to be closer to my own identity is to continue to develop my personal style. I feel more drawn to different clothes as I'm getting older. So develop more of my style and then more authentic, building my identity. Hmm. I would say I would want to journal more, get stuff like out of my head and actually on paper. So what would I have to be better? I guess better at journaling, like sitting still and actually documenting the things I'm thinking. Okay. How are you guys doing with yours? Chastity, you, social anxiety. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm like, I need more confidence, more regulated, and to be focused. Awesome. Oh, Chloe, awesome. I do already have more stamina than I did this time last year. Absolutely. That's a buildable thing. What else? Anyone else feel like sharing? So you put your goal at the top, whatever it is you said earlier. And if you put a bunch of goals, just pick one. Just because you can do this map that we're going to do today with all of your goals, but I just want to show you guys how to do it. Consistency, absolutely. At a girl. Okay, put a one in the chat if you have your three things. To build a home I love. Unless you want to share. I love the sharing, which is ideally, but if you're shy to share, just put a one. Right? To letting things go. Yeah, asking for help. That's a really good one. Getting out of my head, progress, not perfection. Love it. Okay, I need more confidence, more optimism, and open-mindedness. Yeah, I love it. So these are the qualities, right? A lot of these are also the qualities that you feel like you'd have to possess to achieve those goals. You'd have to be better at these things to get to where you want to be, right? And we're just picking three, so you can keep going with this. Like you can make your map as big as you want. I like to stick with smaller lists because I have found that it feels motivating in the moment, and then you look at it the next day and you're like, what the fuck did I write? Like it just becomes overwhelming in my experience. So I like to stick to just three. That's not to say you can't have more. You can't hit these goals and keep on going, build up a whole bunch of qualities. Great. But I like to think of just three. It feels digestible. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you guys to continue drop down from that. And I want you to put one potential roadblock for each of those three things that you wrote there. One potential roadblock. It could be not having enough knowledge. It could be being afraid. It could be money. Like it could be so many different things. So pick one potential roadblock for each one of your things. All right. So build a network. Let's see. Um, I need to be okay. Here's how we find out I can figure out more qualities. I want to drive. I want to be able to go to networking events, to go to Chamber of Commerce events, to meet people, to be able to, if I meet people on any of the apps that I've been mentioning to you guys, I want to be able to just go and meet up. I don't want to have to sit and like either have Nick drop me off like my, like parents or have to take Uber, which is just like ridiculous in my area. Um, so to build a better network, I have to be able to have more independence in my accessibility. So more independence slash driving, right? Okay. So what could potentially be a roadblock for developing my own personal style? I'm a hoarder. So first of all, I'm almost out of room in my closets. So that's number one. Um, you know what? Developing style potential roadblock would be body image. Something that I I want to be super honest with you guys about. A large reason, as I mentioned, that I'm going to be, and again, you guys are grandfathered in. We will continue our journeys, but I am not going to be taking on any more like straight up hormonal health, kind of chronic health clients for the foreseeable future. As I mentioned, I'm going to be shifting into more neurodivergent productivity coach is going to be my, I don't know what the word is, but that's going to be my focus. That's going to be my focus, right? A large reason for that is that I have been personally struggling with being on social media and not relapsing with my own eating disorders. I'm back to the point where I really, really, really have to work at eating, like really have to work hard at it. And I noticed that it was because I had to be online just fielding the horrible comments that if any of my clients came to me and said, "Hey, I feel like I'm having a relapse in my eating disorders," I would tell them to get the hell off of social media. And I didn't feel like any of the new clients coming in, it's like every time I heard them talk badly about themselves, which for years I have helped people with, it was like I felt like, a liar because I was thinking a lot of those same things myself. And I really just, I think it's with the way that like the thin craze is back in such a vicious way, it seems, with like so many opinions from people. It's just a lot. And the advice I give you guys is to not allow that into your space if it's not helpful to you. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is I feel very passionate about the neurodivergent side of things. I feel very passionate about helping adults with autism because I don't find that there's a whole lot of that support out there. And I feel like, what's the point of even getting diagnosed, if you're just sitting there like, what do I do with this? So I am really happy and excited to go forth. I've mentioned the hoarding disorder, OCD, things like that, from a peer-to-peer kind of perspective. I'm super excited to go that route and be able to just stop having to post about losing weight, honestly. Um, yeah, so you guys have access to that journey with me because I feel like everyone I work with now, you guys know me. I don't have to continue to be facing that every single day. So when it comes to developing my own personal style. I am going to continue working on my body image because I do think that my past could be a roadblock. And I just want to feel completely comfortable in whatever body I'm in, as I've always told you guys that you deserve to be. So, okay, that's my spiel. Roadblock with journaling. Hmm, brain capacity. I think I might have to have a designated time for journaling. And maybe what I can do is like voice note into a note throughout the day or the week or whatever, and then just copy and paste that into my journal and summarize it once a week. Okay, so for me, the roadblock for journaling would be brain capacity for words. Okay, so that's going to be my roadblock. So let's see what you guys said here. Oh, the irony. I want more stamina, and consistency helps me get there, but the lack of stamina prevents the consistency. That just means reworking the process, reworking it so that you have a way to be consistent when you have low stamina. Because even if you have people that like, I have clients that are with me for years and they have everything down pat. They're baby steps, like they're doing great, and then something happens, a relocation, an illness, like something happens that just kind of throws everything off. And then it feels like they can't continue in that way. And they can't because they're not in that season and they're not with that threshold. But that doesn't mean you can't rework it to have a different method of doing it when you do have a lower threshold. We're not always going to be at the same place. So our process has to kind of ebb and flow with our life. It's so hard though. You're like, I can't even figure out one way to do it, like let alone several, but that's what we work on. Emotional damage. I get all raw and have no one to decompress with. Social media has hit me hard too. Yeah, no, and I don't want you guys to ever feel bad about decompressing with me at all. Like in terms of what I'm just saying, I don't have the energy to build new connections and market in that space right now. Like I don't want to do that. I want to post whatever the hell I want to post and as it connects with people, and having to compete with a fitness algorithm is just awful. Like what kind of picture could you put up or reel could you put up really to convey a lot of the work we do in here? It's deeper than that. So but I don't want you guys to ever think that you can't be as real and raw about anything you're going through. We all, the majority of the people in here have some form of an eating disorder. Let's be honest. And whether it's not knowing what the hell to eat or how to portion, whatever you want to say it is, that's why we're here a lot of the time. So I want you guys to feel comfortable still being you with me. Um, but yeah, social media is a cesspool these days. It's rough. And one last thing about that too is that the majority of it, it's also seeing like these horrible, horrible things written and wanting to like come back at it because that's just in my personality. If I see misinformation, I feel like I can't not say something. And there are a lot of situations where one, I just it would screw up my algorithm with my posts to comment on these things, which is crazy. And then two, half of them are bots. They're not even people. They are bots that are programmed to say the most offensive, divisive, polarizing shit about bodies, about women, about the whole thing. So, cesspool. Anyway, good for you for honoring your truth and how it affects you. Oh, thanks, Danny. That's how we met, right? I noticed I kept wanting to eat less and less to cut my insulin back more and more, diabulimia, and I was like, no, no, we're not gonna go down this road. So for the exercise, it's all fear of judgment, shame, myself, and the anxiety that comes with all that. Yeah. So then you could put for your roadblocks would be, I guess, judgment and shame. If you think about that, that would probably stop you, right? Like the analysis paralysis. So maybe put like judgment and shame as one of the roadblocks, analysis paralysis, or whatever you want to call it, like functional freeze, like just inactivity, whatever speaks to you. And then anxiety. I get that. Because like letting go of stuff is so hard when our brains are like this because it's like so much more complicated than what it seems on the surface. And we're aware of that. So I do think anxiety is a big roadblock there. I've been stopping myself from responding to so much negativity. It's just, and the problem is that, and I tell this to everyone, there's a way also, to address some deeper things these days. There is a way to be informed and remain informed and not rely on social media for it, because the way videos get seen more is by having more interaction on them. And the way you get the most interaction is by posting things in a way that is polarizing, that is, it causes an emotional reaction. And even if it isn't a thing that should cause an emotional reaction, but being forced to have that reaction all day long and being forced to see what other people are saying and stay in your own lane and like keep your own mindset focused is really hard to do. You got to be like just completely oblivious to energy, I feel like, in this day and age to not have it affect you in some capacity. you know? So yeah, rage bait is horrible, purposely messing things up in the, oh my God. I know, my autistic ass. I'm like, why did you do it? Why'd you spill it? I'm like, you didn't need to put that in the blender so aggressively. But anyway, okay. So you got your roadblocks listed here, all right? Then list I mean, a lot of you guys have done this already, right? So go and list the emotional things that you would have to be stronger in with those roadblocks. So more independent and driving. So for me, the emotions with that would be trusting myself, or not emotion, but like an emotional thought, byproduct of that. I would have to trust myself more. I would have to go slow, like and build up, let's say, so I can help myself with the anxiety. I don't know if you guys don't, if any of you know this, but I drove a couple of weeks ago for the first time. I don't know, I think it's like 10, 12 years really. It's a big thing that I was working on. I was agoraphobic for a bit, and part of that was my fear of driving again. So I basically stayed home for like 6 months. And then after I broke out of that, I had such an extreme fear of driving. So I've been working on that and I am very close. Like I'm going to be driving within the next couple weeks, like to stores and stuff. I'm really excited about it. But I do realize that there are exercises I have to, oh my God, there are exercises I have to do in my head, things I have to tell myself to be able to get through them. So, okay. So then an emotional aspect I'd have to be stronger with in terms of body image, which is going to sound really, well, no, I guess the bigger overarching thing is comparison. I have to compare less. I have to compare less. Um, what I noticed? It wasn't even like how I knew it was getting bad again for me was like I was picking apart certain aspects of my body. Like like, okay, well, I have big boobs, but I don't have a small waist. I was like calling myself, like walking around, calling myself SpongeBob. And then I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're making fun of yourself again. Like, don't do that, like talking shit about myself. I yell at you guys for it, so, and that would be because, I'm comparing to some other ideal body, which is just stupid because we're all different. So, I'm not going to waste my time on that. I'm going to compare less and I'm going to catch myself when I do it. Okay, so emotional quality I would have to be better at or stronger at with having the brain capacity for words. I would say being kinder about rest, right? So be kinder. Like, if I'm that burnt out, maybe I just don't have to write words in that moment. I think it seems simple, but I don't know about you guys. Sometimes we all need the reminder. Be kinder about needing rest. I think I kind of did that. I took pretty much the month of December and half of January off of social media in terms of posting and stuff like that. So I feel really good about it now. Okay, so let's see what the chat says. Oh, are you guys doing this as I'm doing it, or anyone feel like sharing what this has brought up for you? Because this is basically like a thought jogging exercise. That's why I wanted to do it in real time, because I can just tell you what to write, but I think you really have to kind of talk through and work through all the angles. Sometimes doing something like this helps bring that out. Excalidraw is a good wakeboard for this. People who like hugs love a curvy body. That is very true. I'm just saying my husband's never grabbed me more. So and I've always known that. And like I kind of like dig the more softer body, I was at a point after pregnancy where I like literally couldn't really walk or breathe. So at that point, I wasn't feeling too great just from a different perspective. It wasn't even about looks, but I gotta say I am kind of like I feel like I don't want the same body I had before having a kid because it feels weird. Like I'm a different person. I'm a whole different human now. And it feels that way. So I don't know. It's just little comparisons. But I want to look into Excalibur. I have to get my reading glasses. I suck with like technology, so I'll look into it, but I can't make promises. I was actually thinking, guys, while I have you here, if anyone, are you guys familiar with Discord at all? And polling the class, how would we feel about the neurodivergent side of things, like that program starting on a Discord server? Is that it? Where everything is in one place, chats, videos, documents, like one, not on Facebook and WhatsApp and what is it, Google Drive and like all these different places. But that's what I'm trying to find. Yeah, is like short of building out an app, which is crazy. I heard you can just do all that on Discord. So, and then School was the other one, if you've heard of it, like Skool. I don't know. A bunch of people are really excited about the Discord whenever I bring it up. So I think I might just do that. I have it downloaded. I've never even been on there. It's the only way my brothers will stay in touch, so I'm on it all the time. Cool. Awesome. I will start looking into doing it that way. All right. Um, now you guys are going to be using this map. I want you to continue going further and further into those roadblocks, right? So for some of you who have more practical goals, whether it's getting a new job, right? Or I think Chastity, you said the TikTok series, things like that. So keep on running it down through the more emotional side of things until you feel like you've mapped all that out. And then start getting into the technical side of things. Like, what would you physically have to do that's maybe you're dreading? What are some things like, do you have to learn something new, right? Do you have to look into different things? Do you have to expand your knowledge on certain areas? So anytime you reach a point where you feel like, oh man, I'm backed into a corner on that goal, keep going, keep listing things out, because that's just doubt telling you that you can't figure it out. But people have figured a lot of shit out in the past. I'm sure you can figure out how to make this happen. None of the goals you guys told me, none of you were saying like, I want to, go up in space like Katy Perry. So I feel like some pretty achievable shit going on in this chat, which I like, you know? Um, okay, so now to round out the end of this, I want to create affirmations. I want to create affirmations around what we've made here. And the way you can do it however you want. But my tip for affirmations, and go back and watch the videos I posted in the chat and on Facebook, because I talk a lot about this more in depth in those. But the way I like to do my affirmations, I always start them with the same prefix. Is that the thing? So I say, I'm so happy and grateful now that and I finish with what it is that I want to have or do or feel or whatever. Okay. So, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. Their goal was that they don't want to binge eat. That's their goal, is to have as minimal binges as possible this year. Their other goal was to have regular periods this year. I think they're two in the same, because I think if you're trying to have a regular period and you're combating binge eating disorder, that's going to be throwing off your blood sugars and all that. So that's where we start. So we did this exercise and then we got down to her affirmations. And the way we did it was, what are the qualities or the components of not binging, and how do we turn them into affirmations? I'm so happy and grateful now that I feel safe and secure around food. I'm so happy and grateful now that I enjoy lots of options that allow me to, I forgot how I said it, indulge my cravings without affecting my blood sugars. I'm so happy and grateful I have stable blood sugars. You just keep running it down and just thinking about, okay, well, what are all of the little facets of that goal? And it's going to feel real hokey and ridiculous at first. But if you continue to think these things, these statements, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am, whatever, it's going to put you in a better place throughout the whole day. You're going to go from thinking something's bullshit and not going to happen for you to thinking that you're attracting these things. You're doing what you got to do to get closer to your goal. There will always be the fear of if you don't hit that goal. But I'm going to let you into a little secret here. We all have the same risk of getting hit by a bus tomorrow, but otherwise, God willing, we're all going to be here for a minute. And there is no silent like jury that's going to deem you a piece of shit because you don't hit your goal within an allocated amount of time. You can, when I say you can achieve whatever it is you want, I mean it, because no matter how many times you feel like you fail in doing that, quote unquote, there is no such thing as failure if you can wake up another day and have another shot to get closer to it. I really believe that to be true, that resilience and having your eye on those goals and believing it's possible, even if it doesn't come to you the first time, whatever, like you're hell bent on achieving it. That's what's going to get you there, you know? So let's do some affirmations. I'm going to push you guys. Tell me in the chat. Give me an affirmation based on what you've been talking about, taking notes on, whatever. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am. What will yours be? Say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a network that aligns with me and I have built more community. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have developed a style that feels authentic to me. I'm so happy and grateful that I feel like I can wear absolutely anything I want and feel comfortable. So happy and grateful. I journal and document my thoughts and feelings effortlessly and consistently. Your turn. Okay. I'm so grateful I finally told my story. Yay. I'm so happy and grateful now that I can move without being in pain standing up. Amazing. Yep. And I would say the thing to watch out for there too, this is in the verbiage video. It's a really sneaky one. You want to think about it in terms of the format of instead of saying like, I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow, you want to think of, I hope it's sunny tomorrow. So in that one, it would be, I'm so happy and grateful now that I can move with ease, especially when standing up. Just such a simple change, you know? I catch myself doing that all the time. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a space where I authentically feel at home. Oh, I would love that for you. It is possible. You can do it. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any other affirmations? Oh my God, I just wrote on my face, I think. And then I'll post this template as well in the chat for you guys. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have space to create in my room. I love that. Love that. So, how did I get? Oh, okay. I thought I got rid of the chat. So I know for some of you who have been with me longer, like this might be redundant, right? But I hope that it was helpful to start thinking of plotting out what it is that I can do, what are, just to kind of get your brain down on paper. I am, of course, still here to help you work towards these goals. We can discuss using this on our individual sessions. If you have if you get overwhelmed, if you get pissed off, if you, whatever, disillusioned, it doesn't have to be all rainbows and sunshine. You know me, I like to roll my sleeves up. So please text me as you go through this process and share those complicated feelings with me if they arise. All right. So, and I believe in every single one of you. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I truly do believe in every single one of you. And I'm proud of you. It's going to be a great year. Okay. So I'll keep you posted on all of the new developments. Keep your eye out for the challenge in February. And away we go. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.